watching Bounce TV News at 7.
In New York City tonight, several have been arrested trying to make their way into the New York mayor's race. Good evening, I'm Rahman Johnson, and you're watching Bounce TV News at 7. Thanks so much for spending your evening with us. Now, what's happening right now in New York is that a Democratic state lawmaker, along with 5 other politicians, they were in an alleged plot to pay tens of thousands of dollars to Republican Party bosses to let them run for mayor as a Republican. We'll hear what they said right now.
The allegations are very serious. I was the Attorney General. I spent more time working on political reform and political corruption than probably any Attorney General in modern political history. So I take it very seriously, and they are serious allegations. I hope that he fully cooperates with the investigation, and I hope the investigation is thorough and speedy and gets to the facts. But it is very, very troubling. We have zero tolerance for any violation of the public integrity and the public trust. So they're very serious.
So here's what we know so far. Malcolm Smith, 56, who has both been the Senate majority and minority leader in the New York State Senate, was arrested along with Republican New York City Councilman Dan Halloran and some other political figures. Now, the criminal complaint comes from the FBI. They were undercover, and it said that they posed as wealthy real estate developers. And one of the main culprits said that there was going to be $80,000 in cash that was promised to the Bronx, promised from the Bronx Republican Party or to the Bronx Republican Party if they could get this guy in the election, Malcolm Smith, in the election. Now, on the phone with us, we have someone who's been a damage control expert for years and years, and he's also a best-selling author of several books who writes this kind of stuff. It's Marc Little. Marc, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Rockman. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for joining me this evening. And you couldn't write a story like this. I mean, this is straight out of one of your novels, don't you think?
You know, it's very interesting. I read this earlier in the day, and I just kind of glossed over it because it's basically politics as usual. Although we hear about it coming from New York, but you can go in any hamlet across the country and you find a story similar to this and even greater than this, believe it or not.
Let me ask you, do you think the guy could have won? I mean, I know that it's an opportunity for a guy. He's African American. They wanted to retake the governor's or the mayor's office in New York. But could this guy have won had he run as a Republican in New York?
Well, he has a pretty elaborate scheme there, because what he was doing was he was doling out a lot of dollars to Republicans who would get dollars for him. He promised them positions, and he also, they talk about the $80,000, tens of thousands of dollars. He also made a promise for $500,000 to clear some zoning for someone who was trying to do some business in New York. So this could go into some millions of dollars. Could he have won? I'm never going to say anything is impossible. It's a highly improbable, but it's not impossible.
Now, and I know you're from the area, from Newark, New Jersey originally, and so you know New York politics and how kind of strange and wild it could get. There's also a state senator who went to jail earlier this year, Senator Larry Seabrook, who is also a councilman, and there was so much around the controversy there. Is this culture of corruption something that is happening around New York?
Well, one of the things is you have to understand, northern politics are so different because so much of it is machine politics. In the South, it's a little bit different. I grew up, as you said, in Newark, New Jersey, went to college in Los Angeles, and my professional life has been spent here in Jacksonville, Florida. So I've seen the difference between what you would call sort of kind of rural southern politics versus machine politics. Yes, it's very endemic, and it goes on across. And when you look at Chicago, New York, Newark, Camden, New Jersey, Philadelphia, these are the kinds of things that happen. And I'm not demeaning these cities at all, but that's just the way it is. It's a culture of corruption when it comes to politics in many of these larger cities.
Good stuff. Marc Little, thanks so much for joining us. And Marc, I want to remind you, Marc Little is the author of 3 books. We'll have links to how you can get in contact with Marc on our website and on our Facebook page. Again, Marc, thank you.
Thank you.